Okay, so the other day you did the area models to multiply mixed numbers, and I understand you struggled a little bit. On the homework, I didn't get to see all the boxes for the last three problems, but today we're going to simplify this process and show you the easier way. So you're going to go to page 471 to start in your book, right? And let's go ahead and look at the first problem. So the first problem says 1/3 of a 1 1/4 acre park has been reserved as a dog park. Find the number of acres that are used as a dog park. So we are basically looking for 1/3 of 1 1/4 acres. Now, when you do this, of means multiplication, so we're basically doing 1/3 times 1 1/4. Now, one way we've looked at it in the past is if I look at the model over here, right? Here I have two holes, but each of these holes are broken in fourths because of this fraction 1/4. So if I wanted to show in this model what 1 1/4 is, right? This whole rectangle would represent 1, right? Then this little strip would represent the 1/4. So this would be 1, this would be 1/4. Now, when we go to do this, right, we need to break this 1 1/4 up into 3 equal groups. Okay? Now here's the thing. When I break it up into 3 equal groups, each whole rectangle is broken up into how many parts? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So each rectangle is, right, broken up into 12 equal parts. Okay? Now, what fraction of the rectangle is shaded? Well, when we look at this, when I break it up into 3 groups, right, we need 1/3 of this whole thing. Well, if these are 3 equal groups, how many boxes are in 1/3 of the groups? Well, these 5 boxes represent 1/3 of the group, right? Therefore, we're going to say 5 out of 12, right, would be the answer. Okay? So now, moving on, alright, so that explains why it's 5/12. But the easier way to do it is we are going to rename the mixed number as an improper fraction. So not just a fraction, but it's probably going to be an improper fraction. So what do I do here? Well, when I do 1/3 times 1 1/4, 1/3 is already a fraction, so I'm going to keep it a fraction. But I'm going to convert, right, 1 1/4 to a improper fraction. And if you remember, we are going to multiply 4 times 1. So 4 times 1. Then we're going to add the numerator, 1, and put it all over 4. So 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 plus 1 is 5 over 4. Now, once I convert the mixed number to an improper fraction, now I'm going to multiply like we've been doing. 1 times 5 is 5. 3 times 4 is 12. And that is going to be my answer. Okay, so I personally think this method is much easier. So what is the method? Right? Step 1, you're going to convert each mixed number to an improper fraction. And remember, if you have a fraction a to the b over c, it's c times a plus b all over c. That's the steps you do to change it to an improper fraction. Then we multiply the fractions. Then we simplify by reducing or changing back to an improper, to a mixed number. Okay, so you can pause the video and go write that down. Okay, so this next example, 12 times 2 1/6. So when we have 12 times 2 1/6, 12 times, when I look at 2 1/6, I'm going to change that, right? 2 1/6 is going to become 6 times 2 plus 1 all over 6. 6 times 2 gives me 12 plus 1 over 6, which gives me 13 over 6. So I'm going to change this problem to 12 over 1 times 13 over 6. Now, you could do what we've done in the past. You can multiply 12 and 13, 6 and 1, and then reduce it. But if I look at this, I know right away 12 and 6 can reduce to 2 over 1. Now, 2 times 13 is 26 over 1, and that'll give me 26. Okay? So now, let's do 16 times 4 1/8. Alright? Ignore the directions that say use a distributive property. Right? We're just going to multiply these. Right? 16 times 4 1/8 becomes 16 over 1 times. I have to change 4 1/8 to an improper fraction. So I'm going to do 4 times 8. Then I'm going to add the 1 and put it all over 8. That's going to give me 32 plus 1 over 8, which is 33 over 8. So now I'm going to do 16 over 1 times 33 over 8. So here, I can multiply 16 times 33 and 1 times 8 and then simplify, but personally, I see that 16 and 8 can reduce, right? They both can be divided by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 2 times 33 is 66 over 1, which would give me 66. So 16 times 4 1/8 would be 66. Okay. So let's go to the share and show. Alright, this is page 473. Okay, let's do a couple of problems here. Right? So, number 1, 1 2/3 times 3 4/5. First thing we're going to do is convert these to mixed numbers. So, 1 2/3, right? We're going to multiply 3 times 1, add the 2, put it over 3. That's going to give me 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5 over 3. So that's going to become 5 over 3 times, right, 3 4/5 would become 5 times 3 plus 4 over 5. 15 plus 4 is 19 over 5, and that's what that becomes, 19 over 5. Now when I go to multiply these, notice 5 and 3 can't reduce, 19 and 3 can't reduce, 19 and 5 can't, but 5 over 5, both of these can be divided by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times 19 gives me 19 over 3 times 1 is 3, right? Now I can change this back to a mixed number. 3 goes into 19 6 whole times, right? So remember, I'm doing 3 goes into 19 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. I have 1 left over, so it would be 1/3. So we would get 6 and 1/3. I want you to do number 2 and 3 and come back and check your answers. So this one, we're going to convert 1 and 1/8 by doing 8 times 1 plus 1 over 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 plus 1 gives you 9 over 8 times 2 and 1/3, right, is going to give you 3 times 2 plus 1 over 3. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. Now, again, I'll do this two ways now. One, I can multiply 9 times 7, get 63 over 8 times 3 is 24. But now I have to reduce this. Okay? Both could be divided by 3. 63 divided by 3 would be 21 over 24 divided by 3 is 8. Now the way I look at it is 9 and 3 can be divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now 3 times 7 is 21. 8 times 1 is 8. Either way you look at it, you get the same answer. So 21 over 8 becomes 8 goes into 21 2 times. When you multiply, you get 5 left over. So you would end up with 2 and 5/8. Okay, number 3, right? We have 3/4 times. I have to convert this mixed number. 6 times 6 plus 5 all over 6 would give me 36 plus 5 over 6, which is 41 over 6. Now again, whatever way you want to simplify this, you can. I recognize right away that 3 and 6 can both be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now I'm basically doing 1 times 41 is 41. 4 times 2 is 8. And now that cannot be reduced any further. But when I put 41 in the box, 8 on the outside, 8 goes into 41, what would that be, 5 times? That's 40, 1 left over, so we get 5 and 1/8. Okay, so what you're going to do for homework now is you're going to actually go and ignore the directions on 9 through 11. Just do the method we've been doing, but you're actually going to do page 70. Your homework is page 475, numbers 1 through 13. Okay? Make sure you upload your homework to Google Classroom.